Hello all, I hope you are well in these extraordinary times. I would like to welcome you to the Fintech Finance Virtual Arena where we're hosting you today. In this special arena, we're going to be discussing how to build a speedboat bank, the approach to customers, the approach to tech, and everything in between. Joining me today, I have the CEO of Mox, Deniz Güven. Deniz, how are you doing today? How's Hong Kong?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Ali?
Yeah, well, holding up, not going anywhere.
Great. We have a great afternoon in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I'm sure you know about it, but Hong Kong is coming back. We just in Hong Kong, we just opened restaurants, cinemas, movie centers, gyms. Just last Friday, people are so happy. I'm wishing same thing to other markets.
Absolutely. My Facebook feed at the moment is actually littered with adverts saying "Visit Hong Kong" from our friends at Invest Hong Kong. Also, joining me today, all the way from Portugal, is Nuno Sebastiao. I never can pronounce your surname.
Just give it a go, man.
Sebastiao.
Sebastiao. Like Sebastian, just Sebastiao.
Sebastian. Is Nuno Sebastian CEO of Feedzai? How are you doing down in Portugal?
I mean, great. I mean, the weather is not as it was last week, but I think we've managed this pandemic as well as it could have been, and things are opening up as well. So it's springtime. It's positive tone out there, and people are getting back slowly to their life, whatever this new normal we have now. So yeah, pretty good.
Absolutely, I think we're very slowly getting there. I like to think we're over the hump.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let's get straight into it. Now, we're looking very much at Hong Kong as a market. I always think one of the biggest areas where you think this is where we need a brand new bank, a new approach, is when there's a lot of it's always been done that way bottlenecks. So when it comes to the market in Hong Kong, where are these bottlenecks? Why is there a demand for a new bank?
Sure, Ali. Actually, we started this journey almost 20 months ago, and at that time, I was in Singapore. I was the global head of digital and customer experience in Standard Chartered Group, and we were thinking a lot of different things to make digital transformation in the bank in different markets. And Hong Kong, actually, it was, and also it is still, it's our the best franchise. We have a really good bank with a lot of different products, a lot of customers, and with really good profitability. However, we were thinking about this digital transformation, etc. By the way, I should say that I'm not a big fan of this digital transformation superficial buzzword, because what I believe digital transformation is more than that. But unfortunately, in banking, also outside of banking, we use this word to define the digital enhancements. We came to here, and the biggest trigger at that time, HKMA, money regulation partner in Hong Kong, they announced smart banking initiative, and under that smart banking initiative, there was one item. It was related with virtual banking license. And at that time, we asked ourselves, what's going on? Why do we need another license in Hong Kong? Why do we need another bank in Hong Kong? I think the most important question was, we asked open-ended question to ourselves: can we defend our market with our existing operating model from non-traditional players? Can we attack this market with our existing operating model? I think the answers were so easy for us because it was no, and that's why we started think about this. Of course, we look at this market from different perspective, because between digitization and digitalization there's a huge difference. And we did a big ethnographic research in Hong Kong, and we reached out more than 2,000 people from different clusters, different personas, and what we identify, more than 87 different pain points in Hong Kong in retail banking. And when I say 87 different pain points, I'm not talking about, there are some queues in front of the branches. That's obvious, right? This is a fact. I'm talking about real pain points that the people in Hong Kong, they want to do banking, quite differently. In Hong Kong, I see Hong Kong, is a very mature market in terms of products perspective. Unfortunately, when I look at Hong Kong from digital service standpoint, end-to-end, digital services, this is still a premature market. In Hong Kong, mobile banking penetration is approximately, 45, 46%. When I compare this number with Portugal or Europe or some countries in Europe or US, I can easily see 65, 70, 75% mobile banking penetrations. And there are some reasons behind it. And what we are doing right now, we are creating a service-led bank in Hong Kong to help customers and to solve these pain points and to create a different banking approach in Hong Kong.
Absolutely. Nuno, what's your viewpoint on the market in Hong Kong?
I mean, it's simple, and that's why, if you think about the way we went about being global, we went to the US first, that's where we're based, then Europe, then Hong Kong. One simple reason is, and even there when we were looking at APAC, if you look at APAC as a region, and then Hong Kong in particular, what you see is they've jumped layers compared or stages compared to Europe or the US. The way money moves around there, the way the contactless payments have been there for a decade plus now, where they're just starting in Europe and in the US. The way in some of the regions, the innovation around the way the apps are used. You have, unlike in Europe or in the US, where we have many apps for many things, there you move money with messaging apps, right? So when we looked at it, we thought, well, this seems to be a market that's going to be ahead of what we're seeing on the more Western type of markets. They're going to leapfrog this due to regulatory, a lot of innovation going on, but also the way just people operate. And we wanted to be there to learn, but also to bring our technology there and to help build, this experience that puts customers at the center, where you have frictionless. It's all about experience. It's all about frictionless. It's all about how can you do your job without, even being seen in our case, making sure that risk is managed. We do not want to be seen. We do not want to do, things like what you have in Europe or the US, second factor authentication and the kind of like messages and double passwords. That's horrible. So, and there we've seen that people are ahead. Users, what they expect, what they're comfortable. And we just wanted to learn from that and want to be part of that, because that's, I believe, a lot of the innovation in fintech and banking is happening in that region. And that's why, we made a bet to go there about 2 years ago. We have almost 30 people in the region and we're going to grow there.
Absolutely. Well, that's, that's the market. I kind of want to know a little bit around the culture that you're trying to build there. So can you tell me a little bit, Deniz, about Generation Mox? Because I understand this is your sort of target market. It's not like an aged generation. And what exactly is this? I don't know if you've seen this. There's a thing called a heart share. Why is that important to Mox?
Sure, Ali. Let me start from internal culture, and then we can talk about the other culture points. But I think culture and the KPIs are extremely connected things. We are not defining KPIs, or we are not defining our targets without culture base. This Generation Mox thing, it's really important for us because we are not a big fan of normal traditional segmentation models. If you are building a digital bank from scratch, if you are building a new operating or future operating model, so you need to think about and you need to redefine the segmentation models as well. Because when you look at the traditional segments or segmentation models, or you can easily tell me, Deniz, what is your target segment? Okay, easy, mass and emerging affluents. But this resonates a lot if you are in banking, or if you are doing a telco business. Yes, mass and emerging affluent. But is this enough to define your customers? What we are saying is Generation Mox is becoming like an attitude. It's becoming like a behavioral approach. Instead of doing a demographic segmentation model, we are doing a cluster model, which we believe is going to be more behavioral. you can be 18 or 80. It's not important for us. We try to understand, customer needs and their pain points. We are putting them under, the same clusters. So it's really difficult to say that, there's two, people, they are both 30 years old and they are expecting, same things, from this life, or they consume or they spend, or their spending patterns are same. These are not related, with demographic approach. And also, this is also related with the income models. For banking, income models are extremely important. But if you want to go to long tail, if you want to do, if you want to serve to really underserved people, especially in a market like Hong Kong, you need to create something different. When I say underserved, you can think like, oh, Deniz, do you have, some unbanked people in Hong Kong? No. That's not, definition. Unbanked, everybody has, bank accounts here. Everybody has a lot of credit cards or plastic cards, in their pockets. But what we are doing is, if you are not affluent customers in Hong Kong, you can feel yourself like, really underserved. So what we are trying to do with the help of digital and technology, we are trying to create, the same and the best customer experience to everyone, and that they are not going to feel themselves like, underserved. This is Generation MOX, and Generation MOX, they will consume, services. They are not going to consume only the products. There are a lot of products in this market, but how we are going to differentiate? We are going to differentiate, with our JV partners, for example. And when I say JV partners, are they 35% of this bank, MOX Bank, is owned by 3 different JV partners: PCCW Group, Hong Kong Telecom, leading operator in Hong Kong, and Trip.com, C-Trip Group. They are the second biggest digital travel operator in the world. So what we are doing is, we are building, services, together to help the people, because MOX Bank it's not becoming a bank like, okay, Deniz, you are traveling right now from Hong Kong to Singapore and you need an insurance. Everybody can do, this kind of cross-sell, upsell activities. What we are planning to do, we want to understand, what are the real, problems, what are the real thoughts while you are traveling, from Hong Kong to Singapore. You are thinking about currency, you are thinking about FX, you are thinking about withdrawal, you are thinking about how you are going to spend, or you are thinking about your saving. So saving and spending, these are, really connected things. What we are trying to do here, honestly, we are trying to, connect all these things and giving to, customers to Generation MOX with a smart decision-making way. And on the culture side, what I can tell you, this hard share, Ali, it's really difficult because we are an operational bank right now in Hong Kong, and thanks, our partners, Feedzai is one of them. They are helping us a lot in some areas. What I believe is we are going to be entirely operational, very soon. And everybody, asks me, Deniz, when is your, break even? Are you going to be profitable, in 2 years' time? What will be your market share, in 2 years' time? For traditional banks or traditional businesses, you can ask, this kind of questions. But our main KPI, our main target, it's a bit different. Of course, I know my break even, I know my financials, or I know my customer targets. But on the other hand, we have a target which we call it hard share. So we are not aiming to get market share. We are aiming to get hard share as much as possible in the beginning. Because if you can get hard share, then market share will follow. And the most important thing is hard share will be the combination of many other things. I'm not only talking about net promoter score or NPS score. It's the combination of other things. And I have to say that, so the people in MOX right now, they have a target, to onboard a customer in a couple of minutes. I don't want to mention about how many minutes and seconds, but we are talking about minutes and seconds every day. And this is a target instead of talking about are we going to acquire 20,000 customers tomorrow. If they are going to decrease that onboarding time, 1 second every month, it is going to create extra hard share. This is just an example, but this is also really connected with the culture inside.
You mentioned obviously Feedzai is one of your partners. Nuno, how is it working with those kind of targets in terms of elements like heart share as opposed to chasing break-even figures?
The way I put that is, I mean, let me tell you a story, and the way we really like these partnerships to go through. When I first met, some of the people at Mox was, in a place that reminded me, these guys are going to build something really fast. And Deniz is right, it was, about 20 months ago. Think about this. In 20 months, you're able to create from scratch, from an idea to a go live in a major market, sophisticated one, a product that is so innovative that you haven't seen that there. And with a clean technology stack, but with the goal, as Deniz was saying, of onboard fast, give a good experience, because that's what brings people in. To us at Feedzai, frankly, that's kind of like the dream partnership. There have been cases with, let's call it, established players that they're trying to adapt, but they're oil tankers. It takes more time to negotiate a contract than it took, Mox to go from idea to put a product on the market. Think about it that way. It takes as long to negotiate a contract in some, let's say, established players, because you have to go through all these things, and it's just the way it's done, to, there's a vision, there's a mission, there's a statement, let's get it out there, let's bring the right partners that will enable us in that journey. I call that wavelength. That, to us, it's, the favorite environment where we operate, because it allows us to, give value, to work in tandem, to share responsibility. That's very important, because this is, it's a joint journey, right? I mean, we collectively, there's a team. It doesn't matter if you're, a vendor or if you're, the initiative. It's a team that is there that needs to deliver something. It's everyone together. That, to us, is so aligned with our core values that, it's just natural to us. What is not natural is the historical thing that you have, that it will take forever. You have to go through these long procurement cycles. And I think the end consumer, the ultimate beneficiary of this, does not get any benefit from that. And it shouldn't be done like that. And the industry needs to change. And I think these Mox in that region is spearheading that change. And that's the way I see it. It's for the benefit of the consumer.
Absolutely. Well, we got to talk. We got to talk a little bit more about tech, because you guys at Mox, what's the expression? Nobody ever gets fired for hiring IBM or Cisco. I can't remember which one it is. But you're built on Thought Machine as your core system, and of course you're working with the likes of Feedzai and other vendors. What's been your sort of strategic approach to the tech stack?
Ali, I think let's talk about technology, but if we start talk about technology deeply, we cannot finish this program until tomorrow morning. Honestly, it's a huge huge topic, but let me try to explain how we approach the technology. It's really difficult to say that there's this is a right technology for everyone, right? I'm coming from a big player. I worked for many big banks in the past, and this is becoming my second digital bank in my life which I'm building. And the interesting thing, you need to understand what you need as a technology, instead of finding all the best and the newest technologies. What we are doing is we have a lot of different technology partners that we are picking them with some with different criteria. Yes, as you said, Thought Machine is one of our partners, and they're helping us. And why we are doing this? The first question we ask ourselves on the technology side: do we need a core banking system? I think in banking, this is the This is one of the most important questions. So why do you need a core banking system, or do you need a customer ledger? So if you can build a really strong, fast, cloud-based, cloud-native customer ledger, do you need a huge core platform or not? I think we have to ask ourselves this kind of a question. And the second thing is, how do you want to use this tech stack? Do you want to use it to acquire customer? Do you want to use create new products every 2 weeks? How do you want to build this? If you can define all these things, I think you can go many different ways, but what we are doing is it's a great way. Why I'm saying this right now in this bank, I was talking with some people this morning here, and in this bank we have 0 physical server. So there's no server in this bank. It's fully cloud native. So imagine there's a bank you do not need touch any servers. Why I'm saying this, of course you can have servers, I have no issue with the servers, but on the other hand, imagine for your future operating model, this is going to bring a lot of flexibility. The flexibility it can be multi you can be multi-entity easily, which means you can be you can port yourself from here to somewhere else, or someone else if they want to use your technology, you can port yourself like this. Of course it's not like this, but what we are building here almost even today 60% portable. So why I'm saying this, you should many big banks and traditional banks, they compare themselves with some non-traditional, non-banking players like Spotify, Uber, or this kind of players, right? And they really like that, oh my God, look at these guys, Netflix can open a new entity or new business in Hong Kong like this tomorrow, or they can go to Slovakia tomorrow. The funny thing is, are you ready to build something like this as a part of your future operating model? Technology is one piece, by the way. You need to think about some other stuff. But if you don't have the right technology stack, you cannot do that. Ali, don't take me wrong. This doesn't mean that we are going somewhere else. We have a really sharp focus, laser focus to Hong Kong. We are a licensed bank in Hong Kong, and we want to be super successful in Hong Kong. But on the other hand, if you have this kind of a technology stack, it's going to be totally different game in the future.
Absolutely. Well, Nuno, some of your customers love a mainframe. They love having central servers. What's it? How is it working with obviously a bank, a Speedboat bank that has that kind of very cloud-focused approach?
Yeah, here's what's happened, and it's actually accelerating. As Deniz was saying, curiously enough, Spotify is also one of our great partners out there, and it's the same rationale. They want to move fast, they want to get the best of technology, but more importantly, they want to do it in a light way. They want to do it in a way that you connect the APIs, you spun the service up, and you get benefit from it, as opposed to what historically was, it's all about control. You want to control every single thing. You want to control the machines, you want to control the connections, you want to control the physical cables. What has been demonstrated over and over, that doesn't work at the speed at which innovation needs to happen. So what we're seeing is, now that cloud is a given, it's work, it's safe, yes, it has some risks, but the benefits, especially in today's world, think about it, we're supporting all of our clients in a fully distributed way. Why? Because mainly it's cloud-based, okay? And the ones that weren't, or even the ones that more recently, and I could give you examples in Europe and in the US, and even in Latin America, that were traditionally, no, we need to control everything, it needs to be secured. We go to them and we demonstrate, not only us, but the community says, look, here's the benefits of having on-prem, server-based mainframe, and there are some. And here's the downsides, and here's the benefits of being cloud first. You connect the APIs. And there's no one out there that can claim that the old way outstrips the benefits of the new way. So what we're seeing, even very hardcore, even in countries that have been historically very conservative, there's a shift. Now, some of the shift is because you just have no option and you kind of like you have to go with it, but a lot of it is driven by the likes of Mox, which is they say I need to get to my product out in this time frame. Just to procure the hardware, it will probably take you 6 months. To have the physical server that you control, it will take you another. For what benefit? No benefit. Because the reality is, I also believe that what this allows is to, innovative banks like, Mox and whatnot is, if tomorrow another vendor comes up with a better solution for a given product, they'll just rip and replace because it's a connection of APIs. And I think that makes, even Feedzai and others, makes makes it more honest. You're not gonna be, oh, it's deployed there, it took me 5 years to put it there, I'm not gonna take it out. No, you have to earn it every day. And the APIs and the systems cloud-based, as they're easier to disconnect and connect, it makes everyone strive for a continuous better product. Me personally, and the way we set up and the way we like to work, we love a good challenge and we love to have that. And I think that's the way it should be globally. So there's no turning back on that movement.
I mean, traditionally banks spending 80+% just maintaining their current systems, and in 10 years' time, everything we're doing now is going to be the incumbent. It's going to be the legacy. But what's the approach to stop that happening? What's the approach so that we don't end up with keeping the same old systems in place just because it is the way that it always has been?
It's a very difficult question, right? To be honest, changing to in banking, or there are a lot of big industries, right? We can talk about the same things. They are using technology, and some of the technologies are quite incumbent. The thing is, changing a technology structure of a big bank or international bank or a regional bank, it's very similar to change the engine of an airplane while it is flying. Okay, it's not that easy, and I have never seen a technology that you can do that, because these are really big airplanes, and they're flying right now. And if you want to change that engine, you need to be extremely careful. But on the other hand, 65% of these companies, this bank is owned by Standard Chartered Group, right? And I have a huge support from this, let's say traditional bank, but they are really important banking group globally. And what we are trying to do in the group, Mox is an example. If you don't have if you don't want change the big engine, you are building some small engines or small aircrafts to try and to attack some markets. And to be honest, I've been asked by a lot of media groups, etc. Deniz, are you going to cannibalize? Maybe yes. If I'm not going to do that, someone will. So it's not a bad idea, right? So that's why some big banking groups, they may think quite differently. The magic of Mox Bank, we are a separate standalone licensed owned bank. So I think this is something extremely important for us, because we have this flexibility that we can run quickly, differently, with a different culture.
Absolutely, and you seem to be, well, so far everything seems to be going swimmingly for you guys. I know there's a few instances of, well, the example that I always think is phenomenal and that's worked really well is New 10 in the Netherlands. Obviously, recently examples where it hasn't worked as well, Bo with RBS, but I think that's much more of the cultural way that it's been built up and created. How do you kind of view those examples at Mox as lessons to learn?
We see a lot of different examples, right? When we look at some standalone challenger banks and some challenger banks coming from traditional banks, I think there's a huge difference between them. Standalone challenger banks, there are some really super good examples. We can give one example from Brazil. I think scale-wise, they are the best one. There are some good examples in UK, right? Monzo is a great example. they are scaling up. N26 is a great example. Revolut, has a great, model right now, and they're expanding. It's really difficult to talk about Bo, from outside, because it's not only cultural thing. There are a lot of different plans there, and I know that RBS has a lot of different plans to do some attacker models. Maybe Bo, it was not the best one. And honestly, when I look at the background of the Bo, it took almost 4 years to build something like that. And to be honest, if something takes 4 years to build, and most probably there are some difficulties there, right? What I can say that there are some really good standalone challenger banks. There will be more, and there we will see different challenger verticals. So for example, recently we started to see some Islamic challengers. There are some wealth challengers. So these are really important. Many of them, they are not going to be successful. Impossible. They won't be able to. But there will be some successors there. The other piece is challenger banks coming from traditional banks. This piece is important, because if you want to see it in real success, you need to give this autonomy to this challenger banks with the right support. What I'm saying is trust is the most important thing in banking. And when you look at the balance sheet, we are not a fintech. The balance sheet is a two-sided, two-edged sword. And when we ask people in Hong Kong, also in other markets, they are okay to borrow money from fintech players, but they are not okay put money or deposit money to some fintech players, because that trust issue, most probably it will take time, and it takes time to build. What we are doing here, we are a bank coming from a bank, and we are in trust business. And what we are trying to do, we want to create this trust to our customers with the right technology, with the right culture, with the right people. I can easily tell you, we are hiring people early, with a Midas touch. Why I'm saying Midas touch? I'm sure Midas, right? It was a legendary god. When he touches something, it becomes gold. We can discuss, was it a good thing or a bad thing? We can discuss. But we are hiring, with this culture. Everybody in MOX, they have to create triple X or double X, triple X values when they touch something. And this is extremely important for us, and I can bet on this. We have the best engineers and developers in this town. I think this is really important, and this will help us to create something successful.
Absolutely. Nuno, obviously you work again with banks all over the world. What's your viewpoint on the sort of success rate of these sort of speedboat banks, and which ones do you think are the ones that seem to be absolutely knocking it out of the park?
I mean, I see, you mentioned N26, they're another one of our good partners, and I see two things, and even some of them are, let's say, analogous to our journey at Feedzai. There are the banks that, the challenger initiatives that are sponsored by a main bank, or that were spun out because they have to do things faster and whatnot, but they start by bringing in a lot of domain knowledge with a desire to innovate, and then the engineering knowledge. That is, in my view, a better team from the get-go, because other challenger banks or other type of speedboats, they start from an engineering mindset, typically VC backed, and they'll probably go faster in the beginning, but they will make many mistakes, in my view, that the other ones that come from the domain and have that industry knowledge will not make mistakes. So what I'm seeing is, it's, to me, the winners will be those who can get the mix and the teams the fastest. The domain knowledge, that will really know how to operate in banking, to create that trust that Deniz was mentioning, and while at the same time building the tech stack and innovating and putting products out there that the market wants faster. It's natural that someone will not succeed. it's kind of a wild west out there in terms of, if you go and look at the number of challenger banks in the different regions, not all of them will succeed. There will be consolidation at some point, and it's just a natural thing. But to me, the best combination and the ones across the globe that we're seeing is those that combine two. And you also see that in the ones that started, traditionally VC backed, how fast and how, they're trying to hire that domain knowledge that prevents to make sure that they are regulatory compliant, that they have their AML mechanism. There have been a number of news where some of them haven't, they didn't have the proper AML compliances in place, and then they had to speed up to build them, and that that caused trust issues with them, right? So to me, that combination, and we're also seeing that in some initiatives in other regions, is do you have the domain knowledge, the people that come from the industry, that they know how these institutions will have to operate once they get to a steady state, with the engineering know-how and the innovation know-how that allows them to get really fast there. Those will be the ones that will succeed, in my view.
The last thing I've got to ask, and I love asking this, so Atom Bank has will.i.am on its board. Snoop Dogg's an investor in Klarna. Feedzai, obviously, first ever Money 2020. You were there on stage with Rudimental, which was kind of crazy. If Mox was personified by a musician, or if you brought a musician onto your creative board, who would it be?
It's a very tough question, Ajay. We have some plans. Of course, I'm not going to share who I want right now, because who I want is a different story. But who we are going to use, or who we are going to partner with, right now we are working on it. And to be honest, Hong Kong, it's a really interesting market, that we are looking for the international population. I'm talking about expat population plus local population. We have to think with a combined way, and we are looking for some different names, etc. right now. But it's really difficult to say something right now. The only thing before we close, I forgot talk about this, but I will really want to share that. I'm sure you saw our card.
Oh yes.
This is Mox card, and I can easily show this on the
Don't show it to the camera. Don't show it to the camera. We don't want everyone to see your numbers.
I think I can show, because there's no card number on it, or there's no CVV or expiry date. So that's why I can show. This is the only card that I can show on social media or any program like this. So I think the idea is, yes, as I told you, there are some there will be some services, but at the same time you need to do some product innovations. And in Hong Kong, the most important thing is security for the people. If people they will lose this, nobody can use this on e-commerce, because there's no number on it. Your mobile app is becoming your remote controller, and if you want to freeze this card, everything is real time. You can do that. And if you want to activate this, there's also one micro problem here. You need to call the contact center, right? Here in Mox, you just need to tap this and you can activate. The funny piece is, we introduced this one. This is the metal card just last week, and this metal card, same functionalities. The interesting story is, yes, we can talk about the celebrities and singers, but we announced this just 8 days ago. We didn't do any paid media, zero, no commercials, just website and our social media page. So right now we got almost 20,000 applications. Okay, I think this shows a lot of things from Hong Kong market.
That's awesome. And that probably makes your life a lot easier as well on the security side, not having the numbers on the card.
Yeah, I mean, again, makes it easier, frictionless, and a lot more safe than traditionally has been.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time today. You're both a bunch of bloody legends. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.